All right, let's make sure you guys got sound. Looks like you guys got sound. Looks like you guys should be able to see me. We're going to do some Linux today. And the way we're going to do Linux is we're going to kind of plan out and set up for our Linux Systems Administration course. So we've got the 16th week tomorrow, right? Like I'm basically at my end of the day on a Friday. We're hanging out. We don't work too hard. But I'm going to prep the lab environment by setting up 3 new user environments. We're going to jail the users. We're going to write the scenario. And we're going to do the scenarios as 3 different types. They're going to be, I think one's going to be probably networking. Oh, hold on. What are the scenarios going to be? How's it going, Linux developer? Yeah. I'm not working too hard. I got the wife here. We've been hanging out the last few days, and then one of my nephews is here because the wife likes to kind of get the nieces and nephews individually and take them to do things that they like to do. So she's got one of the nephews downstairs right now working on. They're working on like science projects and stuff. So I don't think we can quite see it on Ranger Cam. Like if we pulled up Ranger Cam. Yeah, they're just off to the side over here, I think, from where we're at. So, but, yeah, thanks for the follow, Red Devil. Hopefully this stuff works for you. We're not working too hard today, but we are working in my home lab cluster. And so conceptually what we're doing, if we were to draw out what we're doing here, do I have this open still? Let's just make a new one of these. File. Let's just do a new file. And we'll make it dot Scaladraw. I think that'll make it work. And we'll call this let's see, troubleshooting Bastion plan. Right, so this will be our plan for troubleshooting our Bastion. Way too bright. Let's turn that. I always change the canvas background to all zeros. Right, and then our drawings of all types will be whatever else. This is my bash. Oh yeah, no. So what happened was the other day. I moved this in so that if you jump into any of our environments now, it pops up as the message of the day. Yeah, the way I get these message of the day messages like this, there's a site out there on the web. It's actually a pretty cool little site. I need to go find it real quick. It's called let me see if I can find the right one. It's is it these guys? Is it that? Yeah, I think it's this Patter JK. Yeah, this is it. This is one of my favorite ones. So let's just say I wanted to do like a dev environment and I wanted to do a prod environment. And I've actually done this before where just test them all. Let's just go look through all of them, right? Find one. This is the one that I ended up kind of liking, right? I think it's a pretty good one. I think it works well in different screens, but like some people like a certain theme on their message of the day. You can also, I'm pretty sure, hit this as an API and pull them back. So I'm pretty sure they allow you to hit that and get individual fonts. I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure there's an API for this. If not, it wouldn't probably be too hard. But anyways, the point is they'll do anything you want. Stream, right? And then you can just test all. Just see all the stream options. Some are smaller and more clean than others. Like I think that's pretty clean for a normal window. Since I'm only using dev or prod, this is pretty acceptable for my environment. Yeah, so if anybody comes into our environment right now, it'll say dev or prod. I might leave this up actually because I might need this. I might want to generate a couple of other ones for, like I might call this, like I might call it like T-shoot. So like troubleshoot. Like 1 and then 2 and 3. So let's see what ones these might look like. Any of these might look kind of good. There's a lot of them, but I would need this to be smaller. Obviously, I can't do one of these. That would be way too much space being used. Let me see if that kind of looks clean. But I want it to be readable. Troubleshoot 1, 2, or 3. This one doesn't do a number apparently. I like that. That one's clean, right? So let's just grab this right now, just for fun, and throw it in our notepad. Boom. So that could be troubleshoot 1, 2. I think I can change the font automatically to, oh shit, I didn't catch what that font was. Oh, there we go. We'll go find it. It doesn't look bad either. That's just big. Is that the same font? Pretty close. Now I'll just keep this for... Oh. Definitely slightly different. I can always just... What's that? That's not bad. Not the worst thing I've ever seen. Oh, take those. Oh, that's oops. There we go. Looks a little better. Anyways, all right. I'm just messing around with those. That's a great site. It's Pat or JK. If you guys have never seen that, you can just find it online. But anyways, what we need to do for today is this. Let me pull out my little notepad. Let me grab a pen and make sure I have it on white. And what we're essentially going to do is something like this. Grab my little pen over here. You've got the internet out here, right? That's the web. And the web comes into one of my servers functioning as a Bastion. I kind of need to make that smaller. Hold on, let me make that smaller. Right? And then currently it goes out. Wife thought I was yelling at her. I'm talking to my stream, wifey. This will be Rocky. So we'll make this our Rocky 1 to like 10 servers, right? And then what'll happen, so that's our normal login is going to go that way, which is I think streamer 1 right now, right? And what we'll do is we'll set up a T-shoot user. So T-shoot 1, T-shoot. I think that's because you don't really want a long username. And that's going to go to, probably we'll go Rocky, we'll go 11 and 12 will be those scenarios. So that'll be T-shoot 1. Right? And then we'll go to, we'll say 13, Rocky. 13 to 14, and that'll be T-shoot 2. And then we'll do the last one, same thing. So that'll be 15 and 16. Fair enough. All right. At least I got a little drawing now that I can go off. It's not a perfect drawing, right? We don't have to make our drawings perfect. Hey, Akshunya, how's it going? The Christmas was good. We hung out, watched a lot of... The wife likes to watch Christmas movies, so we watched like Garfield Christmas and that kind of stuff. So it's good. It's good. And then I've been working the last 2 days as well. The question was, what project am I working on? I am building out... So we've got a 16-week Linux Systems Administration course, and we're on week 16. And week 16 happens to fall as an incident response. So we're going to just... I'm going to drop the people that are here tomorrow in our lab time. I'm going to get volunteers, and they're going to drop down into their own environments, and they're going to have to go troubleshoot a problem with, I'm going to see if I can get some of my senior guys to come and kind of sit down and act like proctors, and they'll be able to give help if they need to. So here's what we got to do then. So we've got a set of tasks, kind of, that we need to do. So we need 3 new user environments. We're going to jail those users, and then we're going to send them over to the right place. So let's let's start here, and let's carve the system up the way we want it to in my P01 Jumpo 1 environment. So this is the environment that's going to function as the Bastion, and this is the environment that does all of these users. So I'm going to user add T-shoot, let's say 1, and I can do it a few different ways if I wanted to. I'm pretty sure I could do T-shoot 1 ... 3 like that if I wanted to. I could be explicit and just say user add T-shoot 1, 2, and 3 like that, you know, however I want to do it. Yeah, RNX, I hope you're liking it. Hopefully it's good. You can jump in anytime, so even if you're up till unit 5, we're on unit 16, but you know, I would still advise anybody that wants to still show up tomorrow and do it. The meeting times are, if you guys are in our Discord, at the top of the events here, you'll see there's some discussion today around the final project. So there's a final project in the course. If you want to go work with somebody and get some help on that, they're going to be down there talking about it. The 16-week course meets tomorrow at 3 p.m. my time. Now, that's going to be different for all of you wherever you are around the world, but if you look at it in Discord, it'll show it in your local time, right? So just make sure if any of you want to come to that, it's tomorrow at 3 p.m. my time, but for you guys, that may be, you know, 10 p.m. at night or some other, you know, some other set of time frames, right? Depending on where you're at. I know some people it's the morning. All right, so we've added our users. We've put them into this environment, and then what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to copy some of the things around so that our users are, let's go ahead and Etsy hosts past WD, and let's grab those last 3 little users down here at the bottom. Also, I've obviously changed the way that my stuff works because I have my users down here showing up and being created down here in these other numbers. So that kind of makes sense. Different people that I've added over time. Okay, so let's go. We got to add this. We got to do a few things. So I've got a jailed environment, right? Like I've built a jailed environment down in var chroot jail. Yeah, so this is the jail. And let's go down to Etsy in there. And let's VI the past WD file in here. And the very last file in here is the streamer file, the streamer user. So we're going to go ahead and just add those other 3 because we're going to need them to be known about for our jail to kind of do what we need it to do, right? We've got that. Okay. And now we're going to ls and we're going to go, I guess technically, let's grab T-shoot from our Etsy group. Let's grab these guys here. We'll VI group in here. Shift G, add these guys down here. It's interesting. Those must be. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter where we're going with this. How's it going? A large computer. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. I just got done watching iRobot. I haven't seen that in probably last. That's probably 15 years old or so. Been a while since I saw that one, but that one was pretty good. I thought it was a fun play on where they thought computers were going to go. Fun fact, it was set only 10 years in the future from right now. So, all right. So where am I at? See through Etsy. Okay, I've got everything else that I need in here. All the hosts are known. All the keys are known. The bin dev. Oh, let's go back to where we were. VI our pass WD. And very similar to this, see how Streamer has the bin Bastion? We're going to have the same thing going on for each of these. So they're going to get locked into the Bastion shell when they get jailed. Okay? And once we have that, and we have the... yeah, because Shadow goes off the base system, so we don't need Shadow in here. Good, okay. Everything else is there. Let's go to Home. Home is still Streamer 1. That's fine. I'll make the homes as we go to each. Oh, you passed the CKA today. Nice, Vonnie. How did you feel about that? How was that? compared to maybe like some other tests if you've done any other certs. That's awesome though, man. Can I tell you something about the CKA? It took me a few tries to pass that one because I wasn't native to the Kubernetes. I had kind of learned that for that. I had been working on it a little bit, but I did it for that. And then I turned around like 2 weeks later and passed my CKAD. And the reason I tell you that is this. The CKA and the CKAD, at least 2.5 years ago when I took it, they were so close. There was probably only like about a 15% difference in my mind. Yeah, you need to know a little bit more about like the deployment stuff, but I had been studying all that for the CKA anyways. So the CKAD to me was not a far pivot. So Vanny, CKA, good, congratulations, consolidate, celebrate tonight, but then think about going into the next one, because I really think you can just turn around and smash the next one out. I passed the next one. Like I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was way easier than the CKA for me because I had been through their process a couple times by that point. So, CKA and CKAD are good. Anyway, so there's that. Yeah. Well, awesome. Hey, I don't know if you did, but if you would, post that in the Discord because I know people get motivated when other people are posting stuff. Can I also tell you guys one other thing about in our certification channel? We've got this cert. It's not our cert. It's the Gremlin cert. You can go take this cert. You could probably study for it for 10 hours, and then you would go pass it. I think you could pass it anyways. And for the people who pass it before the end of the year, and then post about it down the Discord, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 more days to pass it if you want. I'm going to do something. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I know Minister of Flower passed it, and yeah, he got 100%. So there you go. And then some of this, like with you guys, you could go do it, get it done. I don't know. We'll do like a humble bundle or something. Like if you guys have a humble bundle you want, or I don't know. We'll do some kind of award or something. Something for people. But the goal is to 1 or 2 of you do it, and then like 10 other ones are like, oh, I could go do that, and then next thing you know, you got something nice on your resume. Yeah, Vanny. I think if you went hard into CKA, I don't think you have much else to spackle on that, just to add to the sides a little bit to be able to be ready for your CKAD. I really think when you go look at them like side by side, you're like, okay, I'm not updating the underlying nodes anymore like I did in my CKA, but I am like doing deployment stuff, which looks real similar to the other one. You need to know that. I think they added a little more Helm, so you need to understand how Helm works. Like Helm was in mine, but it wasn't much. You need to know how to like run one thing that I did not do well on, I remember on my CKD, it was like one of the few things that I got points knocked off, was I knew how to do cron jobs, but I didn't understand really the differences with when they failed and when they replayed as well. So, but what's funny is now I know that a lot better because I messed it up. So when I was studying, I was like, oh, that's what I messed up on. Well, that's easy. Yeah, I would go CKAD next though if it were me, for sure. All right, let's get out of there. Let's go keep... We're building this up in our head, but the jail is already there. The jail already exists on the system. You can come in on the streamer user and you would get dropped into the jail. So what I need to do now is I'm going to go up to just var. That's fine. Yep, so I'm going to be in just var. And in var, we have this ch root, right? And I'm going to copy that 3 times. Let me think how I want to do this. Yeah, we could copy it 3 times. That's fine. Before we copy it, though, let's change one other thing. In the bin, here's our Bastion. Let's do this. Let's copy Bastion.sh over to Bastion.sh.orig, right? Whenever we change a file, we're gonna copy that over. Then we'll vi our Bastion.sh. Yeah, hopefully this is good for you, Vanny. That's the goal of this, is to get you guys going and show you guys that you can do it for sure. And let's just change this to Rocky 1 through 10. So we'll do R0 and R0. And then this can be 11 now, right? Because 11 will be exit. And then we'll just come down here to Rocky 10 and then 11. And we'll change 11, so we'll say like, we'll hold D for now. D, all the way down to here. And there we go. Here's exit. Have a good day. You get a joke. We don't really need that in there. I can pull that out. We're not really using that anymore. And there's our case statement. So what happens in our Bastion script, and this is, again, this is stuff that's been around for a while, and I have this out on my GitHub if you guys need it. But when you come into our jail, you don't get a bash environment. You get this script. And all the script does is give you the option within 10 seconds to make a selection from the items below. You can pick 1 through 10 to get to a Rocky node. So 1 through 10. That's what we have there. Boom. And then you can go to 11, which will kick you out. 11 will exit. Or if you just wait 9 more seconds, you'll also be kicked out, right? That you'll get kicked out if you don't add a valid input. You'll get kicked out. And if you get to the end of this case statement, you get kicked out. So you get kicked out no matter what you do here if you don't make a decision, right? That the Bastion is designed to be a place that locks you in where you can't jailbreak out of the Bastion, right? That's why the Bastion leads to a jail. All right, so we've got that. Let's go test that real quick. So we'll SSH a streamer 1 into, in this case, 192.168.11.245. For you guys online, it's streamer1 at prolog.asuscom.com, right? And you guys know how to find that on the Discord. Now, I don't remember what the password is, so I got to go find the password in our Discord. I think I know where it is, but I think it's under Prolog Lab Environment. Somebody put it in there for me. Boom. Okay. Yep. And there we go. I have 10 seconds to go to one of the nodes. Let's go to 10. You're being sent to Rocky 10. And that should kick me over into the Rocky 10 environment in my home lab, right? Provided I didn't break anything else, which pretty sure I didn't. While that's going, though, let's come over here. Let's check all the servers. Make sure all the servers are. Because maybe Rocky 10's down. Maybe. Oh, Rocky 10's up. I don't know why I'm not being sent directly to Rocky 10. That's weird. Home, streamer 1, cluster key, Rocky 10. It shows that I connected. So here's me connecting on this. So 225 is this one. I should see this one connecting. So that's connecting. This is the connection we just, no, that's earlier. Hold on. When did this, 25th, that's the other day. It's possible that this machine got messed up a little bit. All right, but that kicks me all the way back out. All right, give me a second here. Let's go. We'll just reboot him, right? We'll just kill him. Tufo, we are, well, let's go back a second. My name's Scott, or I go online by Het Tanis. I am a systems engineer and a college professor, and I try to teach people how to do Linux. Let's start with that. I run a professional Linux users group that does, the stated goal of that group is to take people from being hobbyists. Anybody that watches me for more than like 3 minutes is going to be at least a hobbyist in Linux. Most people wouldn't want to watch me if they weren't doing Linux in some way. So if you watch me and you're into Linux, but maybe you want to do it professionally, that's the goal of our group, is to show you like the steps that you might take to kind of, maybe you got all this Linux knowledge and it's all over the place, and we help you kind of shape it up into, you know, something that looks good on a resume and you can go put into being a real Linux admin or engineer for a company. That's our goal. So what am I doing here today, though, is Fridays I don't work very hard. I don't work hard any days on here, but we're doing Friday, and what we are doing is this right here. We've got, you come in from the web and you hit my little Bastion server, and currently when you hit my Bastion server, you're streamer 1 and you get sent to some of my Rocky machines. These are Rocky boxes, right? And what I'm doing is I'm breaking off, and now there's going to be a troubleshoot 1 and a troubleshoot 2 and a troubleshoot 3 user, and they're going to get sent to Rocky 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 as like these troubleshooting environments that are going to be built for this Linux Systems Administration course that we're building. Typically, I do on Saturdays, we meet and we talk about the Linux Systems Administration course. We're on week 16 of 16 starting tomorrow, and we go from Saturdays to Saturdays, and that's the goal of the group. That's what we do around here. So what I'm doing right now is I created the 3 new users, and now I'm building out my environment. But one of the nodes that I was just jumping into to test, it just seemed real sluggish, like the login wasn't working very well. So I just rebooted it to bring it back up. All of my nodes are in what's called Werewolf. So Werewolf is a cluster manager tool. It's not that big of a deal, but it is a fun tool, and it works well for big clusters. And I'm going to connect to it my Rocky 10 box that I just booted, and then make sure that my other system is able to establish a connection over to it. So that's what I'm doing right now. We could watch that boot if we wanted to. Yeah, not coming up yet. We could go watch Rocky 10 boot if we wanted to. Right here, little console action. He is sitting at so Werewolf does the nodes are stateless nodes that are booting off of iPixie. Then once they come up, they download their initramfs and their kernel, and then they start a process as they boot to pull down a bunch of what are called so there's startup overlays and there's runtime overlays. So this is startup overlays, and it just actually started right here. You can see it pinging now. But in our startup overlays, we have it set up all the different configuration of the box or whatever. So all right, so now we can get into Rocky 10. Boom, it's up. And now let's do a tail-F on var log secure, and then come back over here and jump back in as our user, which again, I don't remember the password. Yeah, they're all running in my home lab. Yep. We give people access to the home lab. Where is my, hold on, I need to find this. Here. Big lab, copy. Boom. Okay, I got to pick a node. I need to use Rocky 10 just because that's what I chose that I wanted to do. Now I'm in Rocky 10 with no problems, uptime. If I go back over here, I would see that session connect, which I did. Good. Echo, hello, stream to wall, right? If I do that and then I jump back over here, you'll see that message to our wall because we're in the same box on both of these, both these. Yeah, but these all run. Yeah, everything runs in my home lab. I got it all virtualized and all that. So okay, so we got that. Let's go with, so that works. Oh, I didn't want to jump out of there. I wanted to jump out of here. All right, so we exited out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to build the rest of these. We're going to build the rest of this kind of environment out. Cybershell, you said ultra noob question. How do you? No, that's not noob. Don't worry about being a noob. This isn't. No. What you're seeing across the bottom there is the implementation of a very specific tool that I'll tell you about right here. So the tool I use is called Screen, and Screen is often right. So here's Screen v tmux. Those will be the two. Those will be the two that you'll hear people argue about. I don't argue about them. I say people should use whatever they're used to. I've just been using Screen for a long time. So this is an implementation of a tool called Screen, and what they both do is the same thing. Is they generate a no-hup environment. What that means is this: I'm in my P01 Jumpa 1 box in my home lab, right? And if I just kill this right now, well, that's a hassle because now I got to go rebuild all that stuff, right? Well, yeah, in a normal shell environment, if you were to do that, if you were to just jump into like your home here and you were to come back in, all of your processes that were children processes to that bash are gone forever, right? Not if you no-hup them. So no-hup is a lot like, you ever seen one of those like science movies where they walk up to like a sheet of glass and then they put their hands in and then they can like work with like the, I don't know, alien organisms or the radiation or whatever, but they're not really touching it, and then they take their arms out but the gloves are kind of still there. That's kind of what a session is like. So watch this. I'm going to go in as my user. I can remember my password. And in here, I'm going to have these screen sessions that I can look at. And the streaming one is the one that I was just using. So I'm going to go ahead and say screen-R back to that screen that we were just in. And now I've reconnected to that environment, just like as if I had went, back and connected back to those little arms and went back in and worked on it. the difference with this, or the reason this is slightly different than that, is because I can connect from anywhere. So my screen session is part of, so in the hierarchy of like how, if you were a Linux systems administrator for a company, as opposed to just at home where you're just connecting to Linux machines, right? What I would tell you to do if you want to get more into like doing this like an administrator is if you have multiple machines in an environment, have a jump box. And that jump box is persistent, right? That jump box is always in the environment, it's always on. And then jump into that box every time and start a screen session. And then from that box, jump into all your other connections. Because what happens is, like, let's say, you know, I'm here at home, but maybe I got to go to work. Oh, shoot, they're sending me in the office somewhere. I don't know. In 2 weeks, I'm going to be out in Ohio, right? I got to go out to Ohio for a project. I can connect to this home lab just like this from anywhere in the world. As long as my home lab's on the internet, as long as I'm on the internet. And what it is it looks exactly like this. Right here. Right across the bottom, no matter what. Now, if you're asking like, hey Scott, about those things on the bottom, when I'm in my home directory as my user, I have a bunch of files in here, right? But if I look at my hidden files, and then I have specifically this screen RC file right here. And the screen RC file defines how screen is going to behave for me, right, in my environment. So again, real quick, backing up. If maybe you jump in out of a Windows or a Mac environment, or maybe even a Linux system. You got an all Linux system at home. Cool. Some people love driving Linux all day. Jump into a jump box for the environment. Make that your persistent connection. That thing can connect to any servers you want. You can leave all your work on that. And when you disconnect and go home, you jump in a VPN and then you go right back into that environment. So how do I get into my home lab? I have a system that sits as a Bastion. And it's a Bastion node that anything can connect into, and then it's a DDNS back, so it's dynamic DNS. So anywhere at any time, people can connect into it's prolog.asuscom.com, and it looks like this, right? When I show it to you guys, it looks like this. This is how people connect into my labs at home right here. But here's the thing, here's the kicker. If you try to log in more than 5 times without a password, you get booted forever, right? You can't get in anymore. And we have all kinds of stuff here that track all the users trying to get into my system for this is the last 6 hours, all the users trying to get in my system right here, right? We track all this in the home lab here. This is a whole bunch of discussions we were having the other day. I just have a whole bunch of tabs open for that, but in a Chrome browser. But yeah, that's how you jump in as the streamer one at prolog.asuscom with 2ms.com, right? That's how you get in. But you got to go into our Discord to find the password, right? There's no VPN though, it's just SSH. This is what my screen file looks like. It was originally written by this guy Christian Willis. You can go message him or buy him a coffee if you want or whatever. And this works to do this across the bottom of my screen. So if you see how I'm moving between my environments there in screen. You can do all the same stuff that I just did in screen and Tmux if you like. I just never got into Tmux. I know screen well. I can jump around in screen and it kind of works the way that I need to. Oh yeah. Twofold. I use Grafana in my home lab environment quite a bit. We got quite a bit of Grafana hanging out around here, monitoring the servers that I care about. Oh, they're going to hit 365 days. I got to patch and update these freaking servers. All right, but that's neither here nor there. Oh yeah, Cyber. Yeah, oh yeah. You can absolutely jump. I could take as many connections out of P01 Jumpo 1 here that I want to and jump into the same server 30 times. Yeah. As long as you're not going over the memory and network connections of that server, you do whatever you want to it. Yeah, watch. So I have a keyed environment here. So this is, I'm on P01 Jumpo 1. Let's become the root user, right? And I can just become root. And then let's SSH over to like, I don't know, Grafana in my environment, right? Maybe I need to check out my Grafana server. And then I go, okay, well, I'm watching the Grafana server. Maybe I'm doing like a, I don't know, while true, do uptime, sleep, 1, done. Now, some of you might say, why didn't you just do watch? Well, because now we're watching it and it's continuing. when you watch something, you overwrite it, right? Like if you watch uptime, you lose it every second. That's not as good, right? I want to watch the uptime maybe every 5 seconds as we do something, right? And I can do a control AC and make a new one, sudo up to root, maybe go over to like my influx db2 server, let's say. Now I've jumped over to that box, and then, you know, from over here I can check how things are going. So the point is, yes, Cybershell, you are limited only by the memory and CPU of your device. And then I guess if you have some kind of limits placed in like your SSHD file or something, I guess you might have some limits there. But no, I don't have any problems there. Looking, I can just jump out all these. Oops. Jump out all those, and they just close down at the bottom, and then now I'm back to the same environment that I was just working in. All right. Yeah. So I'm hoping that's useful. We have a lot of discussion about that down in the Discord. The whole goal of our Discord is get people doing this stuff professionally. So we get you going there. Okay. Fresh Fries, you said what OS? I'm in. This is CentOS 7 box that you see right here. This is a Rocky 9.4 box. This is a Rocky 9.4 box. If that's what you're wondering. So, Fresh Fries, you would like to know Linux security best practice. Well, there's a lot of best practices. We talk about if you want to adhere to like implementation guides, but then also how you operationally run your systems. Those are kind of like the two delimiters. If you tell me, Scott, I want to get better at implementation, you know, I want to build servers better, then I would say you want to look at your STIG guides. You want to look at your CIS benchmarks. You want to look at your like PCI standards. These are like hardening standards for a server as it comes out of the chute. As it becomes a new server, CHUTE, shoot. Whatever. It's wrong word. My closed captioning isn't perfect. But anyways, yeah, so that would be like your building standards, right? And the main ones for those would be like your STIGs and your CIS benchmarks. Then your operational, how you're operationally running your system tends to be, how are you doing your change management to keep it on its baseline? And then how are you running, like a big part of security deals with your identity and access management. How are you letting users in? And then a big part of it is like, how are you like tracking and monitoring the logs, that kind of stuff. And then like your networking, what's open on the system, right? So, an environment like this, like what's going on with this box? What are these open ports? Should they be open? Are we listening to more things than we should? What the heck is this 69 port doing? What is this 111 port doing? Does it need to be open anymore? Do I understand how systems can connect to me? And if I don't, maybe these things don't need to be happening in my environment, right? Yeah, Cybershell. I normally have SSH keys for my different needs and stuff. I will tell you that best practice is don't let root jump over anywhere. Always jump over as a user and then do sudo jumping up. In my environment, you'll see me jump around as root. That's because I'm kind of lazy in my home lab. But best practice in the industry is we don't jump as the root user. We jump as a lower user and then sudo up to root with permissions from a password. So, yeah, Cybershell, you can, and there's a key standard. This is another one of these things. Somebody was asking, Fresh Fries was asking about security stuff, and I would tell you, there are ways to, like, you can do whatever you want, but if you want to go look at standards that are already out there, it's 800-57 of NIST. So let's go here, and then let's just say like NIST 800-57, because it's very hard to start from a blank page, guys. This is how we do key management in an environment. So if you say, Scott, do I have to follow this? Nobody's going to come and lock you up and like throw you in handcuffs and take you out of your building if you don't follow this. However, let's say your company comes to you and they say, hey, we want a comprehensive key standard by the end of the week. Well, it's Friday now, so we're screwed. But let's say that they tell us by the end of the week, next week, so in the new year, we want to have like a key standard to work towards. I would posit this. Don't go try to write one yourself. Go grab the NIST key standard and then strip out the things you don't need. We're not, look, you're not, let me just say this right now. Nobody watching this is going to be able to do this reasonably even within a few months if you're running like Linux already in your system. However, could you get started and have a set of goals to work towards? Like, could you take this and chew this up into like 10 things that we're going to try to do over the next 3 months? Yeah, absolutely. So, but the point is, you're not starting from a blank page. Cyber Shell, you know what? There's actually there's some good Ansible modules for rotating SSH keys, and what you can do is you can use Ansible to push the keys based on passwords, and then it'll rotate the keys and generate the keys and do all that stuff. You can use Ansible for that really well. You can also use Vault for that. Vault is really good at that kind of stuff. But then you kind of back away from SSH keys and you go more towards like certificate and agent type stuff. So you could do that if you wanted to. Yeah. It's 800-57 if you need the key standard. Here, I'll link it to you over on YouTube. But then, you know, the other part of what you're asking, Fresh Fries, you're asking, there's a lot of questions that, let me try to, like we can't eat the whole elephant right now, right? There's too much to go into, but I can show you this. I've got a talk on this. Look at this presentation. This is a talk that I have on monitoring, because the question was, what do we monitor, right? And this is a monitoring discussion here. Get this out of the way. That I have. This is actually on YouTube. I've recorded this, and this is up in the Discord as well. This exact project and the project guide with it, if you want to go do the labs. But it deals with what do you measure out of a system, how do you measure things, and we talked about telemetry, logs, and tracing. These are the three things we want to know for a system, right? And then we had a lab. These are up in Killer Coda, so they're free labs. But I have these labs on Telegraph InfluxDB and Grafana, Promtail Loki Grafana, and then Node Exporter to Prometheus to Grafana, right? And then we talked about like understanding how these things work. But anyways, the point is you got to monitor your systems. If you don't want your systems to crash into stuff, you got to monitor them, right? Same thing like if you're driving a car, you have to look and monitor what's going on. Otherwise, something bad's probably going to happen, right? And then this was like this whole big discussion that we had on all this. So, all right, we're not going to go into that right now, but that's there if you guys are interested in that. RNX, you said jump box means jump. Yeah. I mean, you guys will hear me say box, server, node. You'll hear me say that stuff almost interchangeably. The only time you'll hear me say node and mean node is when it's like Kubernetes or whatever. But yeah, you'll hear me that. Yeah. But jump box for me is just some server in the environment that I can jump into and jump everywhere from normally. Yeah, I want to have access across VPNs. I want to have access across any kind of, if people have like firewalled off infrastructure, I want to have SSH punch through that so I can get to my nodes. And typically I got to go like in bigger organizations when I've run, when I've been the platform lead for engineering, typically I would have to, from my jump box, get permission to jump into different environments, and I'd have to work with the networking teams on that. Once I did that, my server could do everything I needed it to, right? They don't need to know what I'm doing. They just need to know if I have access to use port 22 to get to whatever ranges of network devices I want. And once they give me that access, I don't really need networking people anymore. As long as I can SSH over there, I really don't care, right? Because then that device becomes a central hub for me to control all my other nodes. So. No name, you said, what is the main theme you're teaching? I guess Linux. But right now I'm just kind of hanging out. I'm not working too hard. I'm setting up the lab environment for tomorrow for when we meet up and do the professional Linux users group. We do meetings on Saturday. We do meetings on Saturdays. And people are welcome to come to those. Those are shown, if you go on our Discord, those are shown up here in our Discord, right there. So if you're coming to those are 3 p.m. every Saturday in our Discord. It says 69 people right now, but it was 208 at one point, and then Discord just decided they didn't want it to work anymore, and they wiped it around week 8. It was really a frustrating thing for me. But anyways, yeah, there's that. But yeah, you guys can come in here and you can do any of these things you want. Also, yeah, you guys can jump in, and the bot will welcome you if you join the Discord. The bot's always there. All right. Also, let me put this. There's our Discord over on the Twitch side, and here's the over there on that side. Fresh Fries, you said regarding the jump box, what log should we check to detect suspicious access? It depends what you're using. If you're in a Red Hat box, the two primary servers you're gonna, or the two primary log files you're gonna deal with, are going to be varlog secure. That's going to be everything that hits your pluggable authentication modules, meaning everything comes in from SSH and tries to log in. And then varlog messages, typically. Those are the two, because varlog messages will have your sudo. Your sudo attempts will go in varlog secure as well, but they will also show, let's see. Let me make sure I'm not lying to you, right? It's one of these things. Might as well go test it, right? We got this old saying around here, one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions. Let's go over to Rocky 1. Let's say SU dash to like the Scott user, right? And then if we tail dash 10 var log secure, we should see the sudo. Yeah, sudo came up here, but let's do tail dash 10 on var log messages. It does show that Scott logged in. So yeah, I guess you got security in both of those places for the most part. If you're in a Ubuntu environment or any of the Debian-based environments, it's going to be varlog syslog. That's going to be your system messages, and varlog authlog. Those are going to be the ones. Cybershell, I show people around the home lab. If people want to see like what I've got set up and stuff, yeah. Yeah. Although today I'm trying to get some stuff set up for, trying to get some stuff set up in the home lab. I'm just letting myself get distracted, which isn't that big of a deal. It's good to kind of show this. All right, let's set up. We got to set up a couple more of these users over here. So we set up the users. Now we got to go jail them. So let's jail the users to their environments, and let's give them the environments that they're going to have. So let's copy -r chroot into chroot, and let's call it tshoot1, and then we'll do tshoot2 and a tshoot3. So now if we look in here, we're going to have these other jailable jailed type environments. So then we're going to go into, let's cd to chroot tshoot1. Yep. And in here, let's we've got all the things we need here. Hold on, let's think about this. We got to go change our Bastion shell. So let's go to bin, and let's vi our Bastion .sh. And this one's going to be a little different. It's going to be 1 or 2, and it's going to be tshoot1. Tshoot lab 1, or let's say 1, 2 tshoot lab. Let's call that 1-1 and 1-2, and then we'll call it, we'll say Rocky 11. All right. Also, in keeping with our other stuff here that we were messing with earlier, let's keep our lab stuff. I like to keep my stuff over here. This is very raw over here in my notepad, but then I can grab it later, right? Like, and you guys will see why. Okay. So 1 is you're going to be sent to Rocky 11, and this will be Okay, we need to fix that. T-shoot. Home T-shoot 1, cluster key root at Rocky 11. And then this will be 12, and this will be T-shoot 1. Got it. Okay. Now we can just melt all these. Don't need them. All the way to... We're going to hit U and U. And we're going to make that 3. And 3 is going to be exit. And perfect. All right. By the way, because I'm lazy, I'll grab all that down here just so I have it as well. Hang on, leave the Linux course up. Yeah, Quartz. The Linux stuff's always going to be up there. Yeah. The lab will probably be in different various versions of things. And how's it going, Paul? Thanks for coming by. Haven't seen Paul in a while. We are setting up Quartz for the lab tomorrow, and I'm going to have people dropping into different Linux environments and troubleshooting things. So that's kind of the plan. So, yeah, and we don't work too hard on Fridays, so save that. Let's home T-shoot 1. Okay, now we got to copy that key. So I actually probably easiest way to do this is going to be like this. I think this is the easiest. Well, yeah, I think this is the easiest way to do it. Let's copy streamer 1. Whoops, streamer 1 into T-shoot 1. And let's chown-r everything for T-shoot in T-shoot 1 in T-shoot 1. Oh, change ownership -r. Is that not right? Let's see, pass WD. T-shoot 1, right? Yeah. T-shoot 1, change ownership -r. Oh, God, it's fucking retarded. All right, -R. You guys gotta stop me. Half the time, I'm just shooting from the hip. All right, so we're gonna copy that to 2, and we're gonna copy that to 3, and then we're gonna change that to 2, and that to 3. There they go. All right, so they're all owned by the right people. We needed that. It doesn't even matter that that other one's root. Doesn't matter. Doesn't care. Okay, and then we're going to CD up. Let's recopy. So we'll copy the chroot T-shoot 1 into -r into chroot T-shoot 2 and 3. All right. Okay. Everything in there should be good. I need to give the users passwords now. I need to fix those for each of them. Yeah, let's go fix that real quick. CD to chroot T-shoot 2 bin vi my Bastion .sh in here, and this should be, that's going to be R2. R2, R2. That'll be Rocky 13 and Rocky 14. Where'd my other notes go? Being sent to Rocky 13. Rocky 13. T-shoot 2. T-shoot 2. Rocky 14. And Rocky 14. Okay. Also, I need to go check T-shoot. Why was that one wrong? Okay. T-shoot 2122, those are right, and 1314, yep, okay. Then T-shoot 3 bin, VI Bastion, change that to 3, 3, and that'll be 13, 14, what did I say earlier, 15, 16? I know I put that somewhere, guys. Does anybody remember where I put it? I guess I can just count on my fingers. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that'll be 15. And 16. Or 15. Whoops. Jeez. R15. This will be R3. R5. R6. That'll be 16, and that'll be 3. Let me think if there's anything else in there busted. You took the day off, Paul. Nice, 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 nice. No, Quartz, what I'm doing is actually really simple. If it looks complex, it's not. I'm not doing anything crazy, guys. All I'm doing, it's gonna pull together quick when you guys see it. What's happening is I'm in a environment where I have my CH root jail for the normal user streamer 1. I have built 3 other users, T-shoot 1, T-shoot 2, and T-shoot 3, and I am making them some passwords next, and I'm making them environments that they're going to drop into and get kicked off into different parts of our environment. We always have 19 Rocky nodes, but we have shortened the original labs down to only 10. So now you only have Rocky 1 through 10 to go into. And then there's going to be troubleshooting labs for T-shoot 1, T-shoot 2, and T-shoot 3 users that you guys can jump into. So that's what I'm doing right now. So, all right. Let's keep building out the environment a little bit then. Or let's jail the user now. We'll jail the user. We'll give them passwords. Let's give him passwords first. T-shoot 1, and he's gonna get the password. Let's make one that looks like this. Hold on. Give me a second here. I'll put it in stream notes. All right. Now we're going to do troubleshooting user 2. So we'll give user 2, we'll log in. Then we'll give user 3, well, password anyways. He had a login already. Okay. Now, we got to go jail those users. So here's how we jail users if you guys haven't ever seen this before. CyberShell said, where do I get the screen config from? Can I show you the easiest place to get the screen config I have? You could find it online, but if you go to our killer coda, I have a set of labs, and one of them deals specifically with screen. And in here, let me make sure, hold on. These are free labs out on Killer Coda. They don't cost you anything. You just go and sign into them, basically. They're free. If you have Gmail, you just log right into them. If you have an email, I guess you could put any email. I think if you, yeah. That's the easiest place to go grab it right there. So here's the link if anybody needs that. Those are just the labs that I've put together for people to use out on there. Atticus, how's it going? Yeah, we're doing good. Northern Chimp, Christmas was good. I'm just going back and forth, but I'm building out labs, so that's why I'm kind of moving. If I move kind of quick, that's what I'm doing. I'm not necessarily trying to move quick. I'm just building stuff kind of as it pops in my head to go through it all. So we're jailing the users next. So 3 new environments, users, built, passwords, set, and then we're going to jail the user. So if you guys have never seen a user get jailed, here you go. You can apply jails different ways, but if they're going to be coming in through SSH, that's the easiest place to do it. So we're going to cd to etc SSH. Etc SSH is the directory where your SSH underscore config and your SSHD underscore config. Now, they're 2 different files. The D is your daemon of connections coming in, and your SSH underscore config is your server's connections going out by default. Now, if you ever try to set something as the default for your client going out, and it gets run into by a different config in the server that you're connecting to, the one that wins, the configuration that wins is always the server. And I always use this example. If people take off shoes when they come to your house, and then one of your friends comes over one day and goes, I don't take my shoes off, and you're like, well, people take their shoes off when they come over here, and they go, well, I'm not taking my shoes off, then guess who always wins that one? The house. The house always wins. It's time to go. Either take your shoes off or you go, right? Those are your 2 options. Same thing with the server. The daemon always leads. The daemon's always in charge. So, SSHD config. And we're going to steal. We're going to very shamefully steal from ourselves. And what we're going to do is we're going to steal these 2 lines. So how do we steal these lines? We say Y2Y, and then we say P, P, and P. But then we need to change the user, so we need to make it tshoot, which is troubleshoot 1, troubleshoot 2, right? And then tshoot 3, right? And then var chroot underscore tshoot1, tshoot 2, and tshoot 3 are now our troubleshoot jails for each of those different users. So we need to do one last thing. Does anybody know what the one last thing we're going to do? We just modified a config file for a service running on our system. Systemctl status sshd. What do we need to do if we've modified a config file for that service to accept that config file? Q, you said I run that server. Yeah. Well, you're not wrong. Neither of you 2 are wrong, and yet, they're both right, guys. They're right. They're technically right. We could reboot the whole frickin' server, and it would be much like the Meeseeks that have decided that they're going to take 2 strokes off of Jerry's golf game when they take all the strokes off his golf game when they kill him. Yeah, being technically right is the best kind of right. Yeah, so they're not wrong. But in the interest of me not losing my box, we can just SSH, system CTL restart, SSHD restart. Oh yeah, I always get the old config way and the sysctl way mixed up. So restart SSHD. And that's going to restart the process. Now, here's the thing. Here's something to think about. I just did that. That's very brave of me to just restart an SSHD service while users are connected into my system, isn't it? Well, no, because the way SSHD works is when some new person connects, that process that gets started and spun off is not related to this SSHD daemon. And you say, well, why is that important to know? Or, well, it's a no-hupt process in that sense. Well, we just killed the main PID for coming into the server on SSHD, but we did not kill or affect any of the SSH sessions coming into the server. That's very important. That's very important for two reasons to understand, guys. One, every connection that's still open and has been open this whole time does not get affected by any cool new security that we just did. Let's say we were applying security. We weren't, but if we were, that's not going to be affected. That was very loud. I don't know if you guys heard that. And the other one is, we need to know that, other users aren't going to see things, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Q, we actually did blow, a couple years back at this house, we did blow the space heaters, because the way the wiring works in my house is all the way back in my room, which is pretty far away from here. And then my son's bathroom, which is right next to here, they're on the same breaker, and it doesn't make any sense. I'm pretty sure it's not legal. They're 50 feet away from each other, and they're on the same breaker. It's kind of weird. Shunya, I have Ansible and Vault in some of the labs. Yeah, we have Ansible Touch and Vault. Yeah, we could go over it sometime if you want. Yeah, sure. Yeah, there's no problems with that. I think I missed some follows, but hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. Let's finish building this out. Now, what's the last thing to do? The last thing to do, if I've built the users, I've made the password set, I've jailed the users now, I've set up their environments. Last thing to do is check, make sure everything works. So from this system, I can do a history, grep-i for SSH, and here's my streamer 1 connected to myself. And I should be able to do that, but I know that that's going to work because we did that a few seconds ago. Let's we do want to make streamer 1. Let's make sure this is connected down to. No, actually, I guess we did that too. But let's try the connection real quick just for fun. Where's that other thing at? Where's that? We got the password in here somewhere, right? Go grab my password. I know where the password is. There it is. Boom. Right? So we got the password here for this user. And okay, we could go to any of the Rocky nodes, let's say, right? Boom, you're over in Rocky 4. All right, get out of there. Now, we go to tshoot1. Tshoot1. And this user has a different password, which is over here. Tshoot1, his password looks really funny. It looks like, and that got in, but he got a basic little bash shell. So he is not properly jailed. We did not properly jail this environment. So let's go back and let's look at what's wrong with our jail in that environment, because it's most likely well, it's not most likely, it is in here. So we're in bastion.sh. Okay. I think I know what it is. So in our, I for each one we have to fix our VI, our etc pass to BD, Shift G. This should be home tshoot1 bin bastion. No, that's right. That's right. CD to bin bastion.sh. Yeah. That's there. What was that? Oh, hold on. That's not right, but also that's fine, but we're not even getting that far. Let's go to in our real system. Where the heck are we? Oh, well, that's weird. I mean, I guess put these here too. Although I wouldn't think that should have mattered. All right, try it again. We're doing it live. When's the last time we've seen one of those? Hold on. When's the last time you guys seen me do that? We're doing it live. All right. That was me messing around. SHT shoot. Get in there. I'm surprised if it uses that. I didn't think it used that, but I guess maybe it does. Let's check our password. Oh, there we go. Okay, so T-shoot 1. Go to Rocky 11. Huh. That's weird. I don't know why. Oh, man. I don't know why that. I don't know why that would have gotten set like that, but let's do this real quick. In this one, we'll go 7. We'll go 555. Everything. Okay. All right. Trying it again. Bang SSH, go back in. Copy. Password. Boom. 1. Couldn't open dev null. Oh. Why don't you guys stop me sometimes? I think more often you guys need to stop me. I'm man, that's really dumb. I didn't do that right, guys. That is not 555. That is 666. Man, you guys gotta stop me. Gotta stop me sometimes, guys. Well, I mean, you could at least like say something, Quartz. No, I guess there's no real way to stop me. Rocky 11, boom. There we go. All right, so now we have our environment set up. We've jailed the users. Now I got to make the scenarios. So now I've got to break these servers in some way in which they are not going to work for whatever people want to do to them. So let's write the scenarios. Now, here's the thing. If I show the scenarios here today, you guys got to promise not to tell everybody tomorrow what they're going to be. I'm just kidding. I'm pretty sure that's the first thing people would do is tell everybody what the other things are that we're doing down in the Discord. But by the way, real quick, let's get out of there. Let's check all of our users. Hold on. T-shoot 2. We got to make sure they all work. Can't just test the one user. Password as follows. Okay. Ha! That got me kicked out for being dumb. 2. Oh. I don't see it there, but in var ch root t shoot to home. Oh yeah, that's not gonna work. But if I go yeah, see, it's not owned right. How's it going, Robodom? Okay, so guys, it's my fault. I needed to make sure that the SSH is owned by the right user, so that was my fault. Let's go to var chroot underscore tshoot 2 cd to home, and in here chown tshoot to tshoot 2 dash capvar for tshoot 2. That'll work. And then var chroot tshoot 3 home. Same thing but for 3. That'll work. Okay, we do our SSH again to the 2. Could just bang SSH at that point. That'll work. Rocky 13, good. And then tshoot 3 coming in. And tshoot 3 has a different password. We're all different passwords, guys. Everything's different. Boom. Oops, I did not enter the right number. So let's go 2. Rocky 16. Boom. Okay. All that mess done. All that's out of the way. So now what we need to do, we've done all this. We've jailed the users. We've tested. We've been able to get in everything. Now I've got to write the scenarios. I've got to break those labs in a certain type of way. And then I've got to write, so I got to write 2 versions of the paper. One is going to be for the people that are actually doing the troubleshooting work, and the other one is going to be for the people that have the answers that are going to be sitting as kind of like a little bit of proctor for it, if that kind of makes sense. So, but again, we're not working too hard. No Name said, I'm new here. I'm sure I'll find links. Enjoy. Yeah, we're doing Linux around here. That's what we do. No Name, you want to install from Debian minimal a DE from OpenBox or something else other than GNOME or KDE? Do I have any advice? My advice is not probably the same as others would be on this, because like a lot of guys are going to just tell you, you know, turn Linux into your daily driver and live there every day on the desktop, and I'm going to say, well, okay, you can do that if you want, but your work in the desktop, in the Linux engineering and Linux administration space, if you took my whole little screen down here that you can see me, it's probably this little corner right here where you can see my hand. That's how much Linux desktop I've done in a 20 something year Linux career. Now Linux command line has been all of this. Linux storage and Linux networking and all those other things. I've been at the command line. So what I constantly tell you guys is I don't care how you get into the Linux environment that you're going to be in. I do not care how you get there. I think that this is the most important thing to learn. So where I'm going with that is, I'm just saying, I would tell you stay on whatever tool you're comfortable with, and build your Linux skills by going to these lab environments, by building something outside of there that you can control and do stuff with in a Linux interface. Right? That's my advice. That's what I try to tell you guys. Like, because it doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter if I'm on my phone. If I can get to a terminal, I can do this stuff, right? I'd be a little slower because I'm typing on a keyboard, you know, on a terminal or whatever. But so, all right. We're on an hour and a half already. We've gotten not as much as I'd like done, but I did at least get stuff done. We've prepped the lab environment. Now I need to write the scenarios. So I need to plan the 3 scenarios I think I'm going to do. I think the troubleshooting is going to be, we'll do broken Apache in some way. Apache is going to be broken in some way because you're going to run into that a lot. Let's say you're going to have broken disk environment, a broken, let's say misconfigured disks. And then what's the last one? What else? Misconfigured disks. Let's say that's one. And then I kind of want to do broken authentication. But we didn't really do much authentication, so I don't know if that's fair to really do. Let's do maybe broken service. So a service is busted in some way. Maybe that'll be part of broken Apache service. And then this will be broken repo. Yeah, something's not working in your repo. Something's incorrect. Something's not working. Yeah. Those will be my start of those. Those will be the start of my environment type things. And then again, I'm gonna write 2 versions of the scenarios. The one will be the troubleshooting one, where the person's gonna be prompted and have to do their troubleshooting of a broken service, and the other one's gonna be like the one that I give my Prolog engineers. They're the ones who will sit through and be the proctors for it. If I can't find anybody, we'll just jump down in there and work through this stuff. But if I can find somebody to run it with me, I'll just give them the stuff directly, and then they can go. So yeah, that's good. Yeah, Robdom, hope you had happy holidays too. We did good over here. It was just me and the wife hanging out. We weren't working too hard, and Watched a lot of Christmassy movies and stuff. So it's good. I've been working the last 2 days with my company, and also I have to go out to Ohio in a week. So not this next week coming up, but the week after. I think that starts on the 6th. I'll be out in Ohio and stuff. So I'll be working remote. I'll probably stream a little bit. I'll be able to hop on and talk to you guys and stuff, and make sure stuff's going well. But you guys know on Fridays we don't work too hard around here, so it's mostly us just kind of hanging out. Oh, so let me pull this down. I can. This is. Wait, let's see. Wait, is this us right here? Yeah, I can answer that for money. It's one of my favorite ones. I also have this one. This is like people come in and they're like, "What do you do this for?" I'm just a guy who's a hero for fun. I just teach people Linux because I want more people doing this stuff. I think that this is a good way to get into engineering of any type, but administration as well. You start out in administration maybe and then move over to engineering in different ways. So yeah, this is kind of what we do around here. Here's what we're gonna do though. We're gonna take a little break, and we'll come back in and we'll start writing these up a little bit. I'll start building out how my scenarios are gonna look, how they're gonna be busted, and Broken Apache will be on Rocky 11 and 12. This will be Rocky 13 and 14. And this last one will be Rocky 15 and 16. So we'll write up the scenarios for people. You know what, Robodom, I got a buddy who I was talking to him kind of a few years back, and he runs a few businesses. His family's pretty well to do, pretty well off, and he and I were talking, and I was telling him how this was like kind of early on in the prologue, and I was saying like, yeah, I run this thing on, I stream it, and I don't charge anything for it. And he goes, oh man, no. He's like, you got to charge people for stuff. He's like, people don't appreciate stuff unless they're getting charged for it. I'm like, that's probably true. One, that's probably true, and two, I thought about it. I'm like, I could probably have like 10 people that were really committed. But I'm like, yeah, I'll leave it. I'll leave all this stuff free, right? People can hang out. People can do whatever they want to free. And then if they, want to give back to the community later after they get jobs and that kind of stuff, they can do it. But I don't necessarily need to be fleecing the people who are starting out. I'll fleece the engineers, like guys like Fisherman and Sending that have been doing this for a long time. I'll fleece them. I'm just kidding, but. All right. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll start hitting this. So let me do my hourglass here, and pull the hourglass up for a little bit and say quick break and grab a drink. We'll do 8 minutes. I'll be back. You guys smoke them if you got them. Robodom, you're in charge till I get back. All right. Oh, I missed being called a hero. I'm just kidding. I need to make that meme. All right, guys, I got something in the mail. The wife just gave it to me. I'm gonna unbox it here. It's one of my favorites. All right, well, we got a few more minutes. You guys, we're hanging out. If you guys have questions, let me know. If you want to talk about the professional Linux users group and that Linux systems administration course we're running, we can talk about that. But really, we're just hanging out, giving people a little bit of a break. No, this is not from Fisherman. This is from the wife. The wife got me this one. Yeah, this is from the wife. I'll give you guys a start before we start. No, I know we're still on break. Yeah, no, we're still on break. While we're waiting though, does anybody know what that image is right there? You gotta know what that image is right there. All right, wait for people to show back up. Take a little bit of a break. You got 3 minutes and some change left. All right, yeah, we got our scenarios to put together. Get our troubleshooting stuff built. So now we wait. The reason I like to wait for the break is because maybe somebody says, oh, the 8 minutes, I got time to go run downstairs and feed the dog and get some water, and then they come back and I've restarted. You know, that's not fair. That's not fair to them. So I try to give the full time when I give time. I do that with my college students too. Like I'll get back and I'll be like ready to go, and I'm like, no. I told them they had a break. I'm going to wait. I'm doing the same thing with you guys, giving you guys the same respect that I give my college students. Get you guys into looking at this stuff. Robodom's been linking for you guys the Discord. You know, people that want to hop down there and hang out with us. The reason I like Discord is it's more persistent than this. Like, you only get to hang out with me here a little bit. You only get to type a little bit. It's harder to do back and forth, but you can hop down in the Discord. We got a bunch of voice channels. You can go down there and troubleshoot with people. In fact, I think guys are going to be down there talking about their final projects for this course over the next few hours. I think they're starting... Oh, where's that? I think they're starting in like an hour or two. Yeah, hour and a half they're talking. So if you guys aren't part of that, you should go join that. That's good stuff. Treasure runs that. People go down there and learn some Linux, work on some projects with people. You know, hands-on, finding something that's interesting to you is probably one of the most valuable things you can do. That's if you're not doing this professionally already, you know. You just want to get into doing it professionally. Find a project that looks good and do it. Be able to show other people that you understand it. All right. Another minute and a half. Yep. Robodom, it's all about presentation. That's the difference between being a villain and a supervillain, right? All right. We'll get back to Linux here in a second, but let's Yeah, Moop Boop. I had a good Christmas. I think most of the people I've talked to have had pretty good Christmases. So hopefully this stuff is useful to people after Christmas. Hopefully the goal is going to be, get people in the new year into, new roles, getting people doing Linux, getting people ready to do this stuff. All right. But we're at the end of our break, so I'm going to stop the break timer. Yep, we'll go ahead and stop it. Now, for people earlier, I asked if you knew what this was. I'm going to show this. Is that right side for you guys to read? Who knows what that is? That's the company. Gerber. Does anybody know what a Gerber is? This was a present from the wife. I just got it today, though, so it just came in the mail. So, let me open this thing. I actually know what this is because I asked her to get me one if she wanted to. Oh, look at that. All right. Little Allen key. Never seen one of those with this before. But it's this. So, what this Gerber is right here is a little snap out wrench, right? Pair of pliers. It's got a whole bunch of knives on it, a whole bunch of other ones. And the way this little Gerber works is you put it like this, and you can open it with one hand. The reason this is so good, the reason this is such a good little tool, this is a slightly bigger one than I carried in Iraq when I was an infantryman. Now, I've had 3. This is my 3rd one I've had in my life. The first one, that one from Iraq, got lost somewhere in a move when I was in my 20s. The last one I had made it all the way to Virginia with me when I was working on a NOAA project, and I accidentally put it in my carry-on, and they caught it going through security. I meant to put it in my check bag. But now this one is here, and the reason this is so nice is this just sits on your belt, right? So you have this on your belt, which actually, I'm gonna have to play with this because I don't think this is as nice for the belt setup as the old ones were. No, this is built for like if you've got like an Alice connection or something. So that's not as good. Let me see. What's the rest of this? Oh no, they do have a little clip. Okay, so there's like a little belt clip, so I could just run it off my belt. Anyways, I would always wear this on my belt like for years when I worked in data centers, and then I would have my little Gerber. I could just snap it open with this right hand. I could be holding a server or something. I could do whatever I needed to with it. So I always like it. Yeah, these are pretty slick. They're not the ones that fold out and you got to do both hands to open them. You could just be holding something with one hand. You could put this hand to your hip, snap it out, and then you could do whatever you needed to with one hand. So it was kind of nice. The one I carried in Iraq had this same blade right here on it, and I broke the blade off, and I was searching a house. I broke it off in one of the cabinets in the house when I was trying to open it, like I was tweaking on it, busted. So it's very similar to the one that I carried. A little bit different design here. This is a little bit different tooling, but all in all, pretty similar. I actually have the original case still because I lost the other Gerber. Hold on. This is the other case though. So I wonder if this will actually, because this is a little bigger, I wonder if this will actually fit in this old case. Even though it's slightly bigger. No, it's slightly bigger, so it won't fit in the case. But anyways, all right. Enough of that. That was my little unboxing thing that I didn't think that would be here today, but it was a little bigger than the other one too that I used to carry, but still pretty good. I don't know why they have a freaking Allen key in here. But apparently you can take it apart with the Allen key. I don't know. Yeah, Robodom, they're great. I worked in server rooms for a long time when I first got out of the Army. And if you're in server rooms, you need a tool like that. I mean, you need something to cut boxes or cut. I mean, it's like I tell people, it's the same reason to carry a knife anyways, is like we don't have sharp talons, we don't have something to cut a seatbelt if we need to. We don't have, like, you can't do that with your hands. I don't care how strong your hands are. So it's good to have some kind of tool on you, right? Anyways, if you're working in data centers, if you go work in like a NOC or a security operations center and you do nights where maybe you have to go in data centers, being able to chop up boxes or being able to, maybe you're doing inventory and you're opening a lot of boxes. I always use my own Gerber for that. I don't use whatever's going on there. Tool is a flashlight with a magnet on it. The most useful thing for working on a rack. Yeah, yeah. Those are good. Yeah, especially if you're dropping stuff. Moop said my Phil always carries a Swiss knife with him. Yeah, I actually have. So most of you guys know I have a bunch. People send me knives. Like this is like a thing. Like I was an infantryman when I was younger, so like friends of mine, people will be like going away and be like, "Oh, here's a knife, Scott," and I'm like, "Really?" My buddy Paul got me this knife a while back. This is just a little, and then it flips open here, right? It's pretty. It's almost like a. I think it is spring loaded actually, and then it's got like just a bunch of little. This is a magnet, and a bunch of other stuff on it for like survival type stuff. This is a glass breaker right here if you ever need to like break glass. This is just like a, you know, a rope cutter or whatever. There's like a bunch of little cutters on it. And then one of our guys, fishermen, sent me this. Some of you guys have seen this one. I have other guys. I have knives all over in this room from people sending me knives. But this one was the one that fishermen sent me. Some of you guys have seen this one before. This is a very unique knife design. It's a wishbone. The way it opens, it flips like this. So when you're looking at it, it's like that. It actually flips like a little wishbone. So when you're looking at it, it folds in like this. Anyways, this one's called Cricket, C-R-I-C-K-T. So anyways, all right, this isn't a knife stream, but I do have like way more knives than anybody needs because for some reason infantry guys like knives, I guess. So, all right, so we've set up our environment. Let's see, how do we want Apache to be broken? Let's say not starting. Let's say not on the right port. And let's say port blocked by firewall. Those are all things that could be wrong, right? Misconfigured disks. Mount point broken. And then let's say disk array not showing. Maybe the server just wasn't built right, right? Disk array not disk array not showing LVM, and then broken repo. Can't update server. Can't install software. Yeah, those will be kind of. These will be our major broken things in our scenario. Now, the people who get the one version, they're just going to have like the troubleshooting stuff. And the people that have the answers will be, they'll have prompts that they can tell people to go look for things. And this will be the bulk of what we do tomorrow, which will be like real live troubleshooting scenarios. In fact, I got to go ask, hold on, down in our Discord, we've got the Prolog engineer part. This is where our kind of engineers. Who is available? To help tomorrow. Okay. Yep. I think there's our Discord for people that need it. Good. All right. Now, for keeping it all fair, I'm not going to write those labs right now, but I think those are going to be the general ideas of what are busted in the labs for people. And then they'll be in the 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, 16 nodes that they'll be working on. Other than that, what do we got going here? Just the usual. Just hanging around. What's Treasure asking about? Good, good. So, Robodom, I don't ever do anything for New Year. I mostly stay at home. I do have my brothers are all coming over, so I hung out with the wife's family on Christmas Eve like normal. Christmas Day, I hang out with all those old friends of mine from, like, we've known each other. Some of us since third grade, we've known each other. The others since seventh grade, and we all hang out on Christmas Day. Then yeah, my brothers were hanging out on the 4th. We're doing the Prolog group. We're doing a meeting for anybody that wants to hang out and do a little meeting. That'll be on the 4th that morning as well at 8 a.m. Just kind of hang out and talk shop. I'm trying to get some people to come talk on that if we can find some speakers and stuff. And then on the 6th, I have to be out in Ohio, so I'm going out to Ohio for I gotta be out there and do some work. Yeah, got some work to do out there on one of our big clusters that we're working on, so that'll be fun. This is, let me see this here. I'm trying to figure out what the heck this is. Yeah, an Alice clip, but I don't have any Alice gear. I do have Alice gear actually, but I don't use it for anything, so. Yeah, I don't need none of this crap. That is the one bad thing about this Gerber that I can see, is that it's just not going to fit on my belt right. So I have to keep it in my pocket, I guess. Or if I get a backpack that is Alice compliant, I can do that. All right. I'm done playing with that. I'll sit around and play with that thing all night. So what are we doing? So we got our Bastion set up. How our Bastion was drawn out was something like this. And that's pretty much how we got it all working. So the T-Shoot1 user connected to those Rocky nodes. To see it kind of written out would look more like this. So the passwords were set for the users. We jailed the users. So the way we jailed the users was T-Shoot1, T-Shoot2, and T-Shoot3, right? And they got jailed on P01 jump 01 to var ch root T-Shoot1. That's his jail, right? And then they can jump to Rocky 11 or 12, which are the nodes that they have. So then the other two guys kind of looks like this. If we care. They get the T-Shoot2, and they get 13 and 14, and then they get the 3, and then the 15 and 16. So if people, 16. If anybody needed that like drawn out for them, like what we just spent all that time doing in the lab, that's what we were doing. But what we were building was, if any of you guys come in from the web and connect to these T-Shoot instances, you would be, that's what you would be doing. You would be launched off into each of these different environments. And I'm kind of thinking about it. What I might do, maybe that'll be how I do this in the future, where I'll use Ansible to deploy the things like I normally do, but then I'll just send people off to, basically the control will be at the Bastion layer, but all the nodes will stay up. Yeah, I've got some stuff to think about how I want to do that lab in the future, like how I want to keep, because it got asked earlier, like, are we going to keep the lab up after this? Yeah, we're going to keep the lab up for everybody, but we've already moved it from Rocky 1 through 19 down to only Rocky 1 through 10. And then these other labs are being used for other things. But I think that we could do, I can definitely use Ansible to deploy users just as needed, and then just give them access to, yeah, I think that'll work. I just got to figure out a way to set up the lab part of it. That'll be my next thing. Yeah, Rob, no, I'm going to try to make all the labs stay usable for as long as possible. Then we don't have to retool anything or tell people to go kick rocks or nothing. That wouldn't be any fun. So, yeah, Master of My Fate. I have a few whiteboards around the house here. I can mostly draw things out on. I use this as my whiteboard here. If I need to, my little Excalidraw. We can also draw on an actual Excalidraw if we really needed to. Real Excalidraw here, and we can do. This is the one that I use often for you guys that want to work together and take notes together or whatever. We can put stuff in here. Yeah, I do want all that stuff to stay up after the server or after the environment's done, after the labs are all after there's nothing but crying left over from how hard it was. I don't think it was too hard for people. I think people just didn't realize that I was serious when it was like 6 to 8 hours a week of work. Like, I made it a lot of work, like, to keep up with that course. Paul, I'm not all on Rocky Linux now. I use a fair amount of it. I still have some CentOS in the environment. I still have some SUSE in the environment. The lab is all Rocky, though, yeah. I've been building only Rocky for like the last year at work, so I came right from all Rel to all Rocky, so I don't know, man. A lot of government projects are doing all Rocky under the hood, so yeah, my notes are never great, but then I clean them up when I go to make them into my. If I wanted to make this professional, I would do all boxes and make it all clean looking, right? Yeah, Rel's great. Rel's the way to start for sure. And 8 and 9. Yep. Finally got off of 6 and 7. All right. So I'll work on these. I'll write these tomorrow morning. What else do we have to do here? Oh shoot, people are messaging me. Let's see. All right. Yeah, Andy, if you ask stuff over on Prolog, especially up in like the cloud channel, yeah, there's people that should be able to help you. We have a few. I know I'm a Solutions Architect Pro, but I'm not nearly as good as the guys that actually. We have a few people that are Solutions Architect Pros for AWS. So if you ask stuff in there, you'll probably get people. Answering you, especially if you ask stuff like it's wrong, they'll correct you. That's a trick for if you ever have old engineers that are hard to work with. Show them their work, but explain it wrong, and say, "Well, this is what I read out of your notes or whatever," and they'll fix it for you. They'll get apoplectic about you having their shit wrong in notes, and then they'll fix it. They'll probably sit you down and give you a class on whatever it is. So I always liked that. I was an engineer for a long time, and then I spent about 2 years as a corporate trainer. And I used to like give people when I couldn't get people to respond to me, I would say, all right, hey, I summarized the notes from one of your team meetings and this is what I got from it. And I would intentionally just make their stuff look like it was busted. And I would immediately, that they dropped everything that they were doing to write that note to fix what you had wrong. And you're like, was that so hard? That was the questions I was asking you for the last few months that you were too busy for. But when people think that you're misrepresenting their stuff, they'll immediately fix it, which is actually a really funny characteristic of engineers. Engineers love to argue with people and they love to correct them. Watch it all the time, right? You watch it on here, you watch it on everywhere, man. That's like an engineer's favorite pastime is arguing with another engineer. So anyways, so I try not to get into too many arguments because I just don't care anymore, but I guess I probably still have some things that annoy me, but I don't think I'm nearly as opinionated as some people. So, oh, let me fix that. All right. Anyways, interesting strat. Never heard of that before. Yeah. Well, if you've never heard of it, somebody might have done it to you before. Like if you're, because I've been an engineer for a long time, but I did spend a little time as a corporate trainer, and I was still an engineer on the project. I just was over training people on the stuff that we built. Yeah, and if people wouldn't give me info, I would just tell them, well, these are the slides I put for you guys, and they'll be like, that looks like shit. That's not right. And I'm like, oh well, this is what your notes say. And then they're like, oh no, they'll fix it all day. They'll fix everything that day. It's a funny little quip that engineers have. Month of listening to other people stand up, I ask them if it's a common occurrence. The answer is yes. Developers arguing with each other is, that's a tale as old as time, right? Yeah. I mean, if you go watch, and I tell people all the time about what infotainment is. I'm like, hey man, if you want to be infotainment is like what half of the people on Twitch, if you're not playing a game, you're probably infotaining people. And what that is they're just, it's like information kind of, but it's mostly just trying to get people mad but entertaining them with it. And if you go watch like the really popular streamers that are like, they're not really coding or doing anything. They're just sitting there like reading stuff that's like figuring out how to get people hot button issues between like Rust and C++. Who gives a shit? Like who cares which one's most popular? Or the 77 reasons you shouldn't use Python, and it's like, but everybody uses Python, for data science. So, anyways, all right. Actually, take it. If you learn how I build jails and it works, take it. Those jails, by the way, that I had set up, because some of you guys might go, well, you built all that stuff and you jailed the users, but you actually copied a jail that you already had. My jail setup is all right here. Whoa, it's bright. That's not what I wanted to do. Also, surprised that thing can collapse that far. I wanted this. Come here, Chrome. All right. Let me show you guys something about my Bastion. In our Het Tanis, in my I've got one called Stream Setup. If you go in Stream Setup, my Bastion design, my setup for my Bastion is all done down here in this Bastion deploy task for Ansible, and all of it's right here. All of this. Yeah, Paul Hartle, over on the Twitch side, he was mentioning WebLogic. Yeah, let me tell you this, man. 99.5% of all data pipelines that anybody's like churning data and pulling it from other third-party sources is being done with Python. Like 99% of it. Maybe 99.5. Anybody that tells you otherwise, I don't think they know what they're talking about. I really don't. Maybe in their one little corner of the world it is, but everybody else is using Python. So, and if anybody wants to ask me how I know that, go on Kaggle. Go on Kaggle. Go on anywhere where any researchers are doing any data. It's all being churned up in Python. PyTorch, TensorFlow, all that stuff runs native in there. So have all that stuff going. Okay, wait, where was I at? I haven't spun all this stuff. Oh, we were doing this earlier. So wait, let's make sure we have. Let's regenerate all these. I want to make sure that we have this option for these ones too. Where's that other one we liked? We liked. Not those. Not that. I think this one was the one we liked. Ogre. Pull this up here real quick. So I think this was called old. No, this was called big. I think this was ogre. And I honestly think that those were big. And this, I think, was an ogre one as well. Yeah, I can see how the 3s are different. I don't want that again. I want one. We were grabbing these earlier, you guys, for some of our, for maybe in our labs we might do that. We might mess around with that. Great little site for that stuff. Okay, get rid of that. Gremlin cert. Oh, I was telling you guys, take this cert if you want. The cert's free. If any of you take it and then you pop it down in our Discord, I'll do some. I don't know. I'll do something for you guys by the end of the. If you do it by the end of the year, so you got like 4 more days to do it. And why? Just to get better understanding of SRE, site reliability stuff, to understand chaos engineering, how that fits in with all that. That was something we were talking about the other day. Most of this stuff is just stuff we were talking about the other day. ZoneMinder. I got to get ZoneMinder set up in the home again for bringing in a bunch of, like I want to get cameras set up and then have ZoneMinder just keep track of everything for me on the outside. We had some acceptable use policy stuff. We were talking about policies the other day. Mainly what we were talking about the other day, we had this halfway, and then we had Sumatra up, and we were talking about different stuff going on with the Security Plus cert and also with the CompTIA cert as well. Moop, it depends. I've stayed systems engineer my whole career. I've just kind of chilled here in systems engineering. I've watched a lot of people that I've worked with spin off into systems engineering, or site reliability engineering for sure. DevOps. I've seen a lot of people from Linux go to DevOps. I've seen a lot of people go from Linux to programming, right? Like if you like programming more than sitting around and keeping systems up, that's probably a better course for you, right? So I tell people all the time, I just think Linux is such a good base for all the other things you might want to go do in a career. And like, if you're going to be sitting around for the first few years of your career anyways, like in a network operations center or in a security operations center or something like that, or you're going to be working a third shift, might as well be doing Linux, right? Might as well be learning how to use Linux if you can. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Linux admin, systems engineering, and then the obvious answer is either one of those other kind of specialty things or management. And I tell people all the time, the longer I've been as an engineer, the last 20 years, they have been trying to make me a manager my whole career. And I stay away from management as much as I can. I try to stay out of just being a manager. The main way that you stay out of being manager is don't let them just invite you to a bunch of meetings. I tell you guys that all the time. The more you get pulled into meetings, one day you wake up and you have 8 hours worth of meetings and you're not doing any individual contributor work anymore. And it's like, congratulations, you're basically a manager now. So, yep, that's my thoughts on that anyways. So, I got to set up some of this. Oh, that's another thing I was going to set up in the lab. So we've prepped the user part of it, but we've written the scenarios, but hold on, we need to prep. So, well, you know what? Actually, writing the scenarios will be first. And then we've got to prep environment for us to monitor. So what we're going to do is when the environment's being used, we're all going to be hanging out in Discord, and the people that are out troubleshooting are going to get broken off into our little groups. They're going to get sent into these. Man, I can't believe that thing won't stop popping up. They're going to get sent off into these little group areas where they're going to work with our professional, our Prolog engineers that are like our more senior guys, and they will be troubleshooting and stuff like that. And the commands that are happening, we're going to see them in our logs. So we're going to be able to watch T-shoot 1, T-shoot 2, and T-shoot 3 environments in here. So we're going to be able to keep track of that stuff. Yeah, moop moop. I will. I'm the same. I'm the same way. I have no interest in being a manager. I get to wipe enough kids' noses as a college professor. Kids are older than me sometimes. That's less common now, but I'm saying, when I say kids, I mean like people who are acting like children. I get to wipe enough noses as it is now, so I don't want to do that professionally. Can I run things? Sure. Do I want to run things? No. I don't want to drive that kind of stuff. I just want to build stuff and be done with it. And that's kind of like that would be my answer to that kind of thing. I'd be like, hey, can I run things? Can I like take an object and run it to ground? Sure. Do I need to be in charge of people as like an L code type manager that can like give people assessments and that kind of stuff? Not really my thing. Will I sit in on assessments? Will I help people do assessments? Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's valuable. Yeah, and the thing too is like you really get there's Ranger downstairs. The wife restrung some of his lights. You guys see how all those lights are good again? We'll keep his Christmas tree up. You might say, well, Christmas was 2 days ago. Yeah, but we'll keep his Christmas tree up until New Year, until New Year's. Then we'll tear it all down. What was I going to show you guys? Oh, let me show you guys this real quick. Not my music. Hold on. Where do I have this? We were talking about. I really think that this should be something. We're right at the end of the year, right? So we're right at the end of the year. I think that people that are not where they want to be, like if you're not where you technically want to be as an engineer or as an administrator or as somebody starting, I really think that you should do something like this, right? You don't have to do anything. I tell you guys all the time, you do anything. I mean, doing nothing is always the easiest of all options. You could always just do nothing. But this is a self-assessment matrix that we have. This is up in the Prolog. It's free. You can download it and do it on your own or do whatever you want. Always keep the lights up for Ranger. Rodon, let me tell you something today. Today I got a Jack in the Box. Like the wife got me some breakfast Jack in the Box. I had a breakfast Jack, and I had already eaten too much, so I didn't want all the egg on it. So I pulled the egg off, ate it like a little ham sandwich, and I give the egg to Ranger. So I go downstairs, I give the egg to Ranger. And he could not stand up to go get his egg out of his bowl. And I felt kind of bad because like he was trying to stand up, and his front paws were sliding on the tile. So I like helped him up a little bit, and then I put his paws on the carpet. And then he was going like this and pushing the carpet, and then his paws were sliding on the tile, and he couldn't get up. And he did that for like over 2 minutes, and I was just like, oh gosh, it's gonna be like a Lassie situation. Got to take him out back. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna do that. I'll get in trouble. The wife will get mad at me. But no, Ranger's definitely getting super old, and it's hard for him to move around now. So. It was sad. It was real sad. But anyways, all right, let's talk about the self-assessment matrix. If you're telling me that you want to get into systems world and look, we're at the end of 2024 now, and you didn't do it, it's okay, right? It's okay if you didn't do it. But let's just say that you haven't done it since 2020, since 2015, since 2012, and you're like, well, this next year is going to be my year. I can almost promise you it's not, unless you're going to change something. And I think the best way to change something is take a self-assessment. I've often said I think the biggest problem with people in general is their lack of self-reflection. Like people can't reflect on themselves and see their own flaws. Most people look at themselves and go, I got nothing wrong with me. All right. Well, but anyways, so if you want to be a systems engineer, if you want to be a systems administrator, and you're not doing it now, I posit that maybe this is a way to get yourself some traction to then go. Right? This is a way to do it. Not the only way. It's also free, so I mean, you can take that how you want it, right? But I've, worked with literally thousands of engineers on getting into this work. So, all right. Here's the methodology: purpose, scope, out of scope, methodology, control. I do this all the time for everything. We're not going to go over too much, but the point is, determine what you have, what skills you have, and what gaps you have, and then figure out what your interests are. And if you want to keep doing it. So come down here. Here's your technical self-assessment. How do you feel about Linux? If you go 10, 10, 10, 10, 10 down the board and go 100 out of 100, I can't help you. Can't help you. You're perfect. You should be able to walk in anywhere and get a job. But if you're more realistic and you realize I'm probably like an 8 or a 9 on Linux, or maybe you're really realistic and you're like, I'm about a 5 on Linux. I feel like I know a good amount. Well, that's good. Storage, security, all of these. How do you feel about them? How do you feel your skills are about them? And you got to be honest with yourself. Then you come down here and you say, how does that align with how interested you are in those things? Because again, if you have the skill or you don't have the skill, let's say you don't have skill in database. I'm probably like a 3 in database, maybe even lower. But then you come to my interest in database and my interest is even lower. My interest is 0. I don't want to be a database engineer. I can do other stuff. Database engineers, I think they do great work. I love that they want to do it, but I look at them like a lot of people look at me, like, ooh, I don't want to do that, right? Most people don't want to do Linux command line either, right? But anyways, find what you're interested in, align your interests with your skills, and start to build a plan for how you're going to get those skills, right? Then you come down here, maybe your stuff's business. How's your time management? How's your public speaking? Some people are terrible at public speaking, and they do not want to do public speaking. There you go, that's an easy one. Don't spend any time on it. But you want to probably be, let's say you're terrible at time management, but you have an interest in being better at time management because you know that's going to make you a better engineer. Maybe you go spend some time studying that. There's all kinds of techniques on how to get better at time management. People sell you all kinds of books on that, right? Management of others. Do you want to manage others? I don't want to manage others, but if I did, I would study how we manage people. How do we lead people to do things that are to their benefit and to my benefit and to the company's benefit and all that stuff? Do you want to do, I talk about this often, vendor interactions is a skill. How you interact with vendors and how you drive them to, carrot versus stick type mentality is really going to affect a lot of stuff you do. Anyways, all right, so there's that. Then I tell you guys, you should do a SWOT analysis. This is something businesses do often. You actually learn this if you go to school for business, right? But internal and external. Internal is within your control, within reason. And external is outside of your control, within reason. And internal are your strengths and your weaknesses. What do you do well? What do you excel in? How do you like to learn? Do you know a lot of Linux, or do you know how to go reference a lot of stuff? And maybe you need to go spend a little more time referencing that stuff to kind of solidify it so that you can make it through an interview. That would be an interesting thing to know about yourself, right? Because I think a lot of people know how to go reference stuff, and that's good, but you might need to have a specific set of skills you can talk to before you get into like an interview scenario, right? Because you're not going to be able to look stuff up in an interview, right? Weaknesses, things you know you don't do well. I don't have a lot of patience for other people from like a manager standpoint. I know that about myself. I don't want to manage people. I know that. So I'm not going to even try to do that kind of stuff. If a role comes up and it's like, hey, you're 80% principal engineer, but 20% of the time we need you to manage these people, I'd be like, that sounds like a manager role to me. I'm not doing that, right? I'm not even going to talk to that person about it because I'd be wasting everybody's time. I'd just flip out and fire people one day, right? And that's not what I need to be doing, right? I know my limits. You guys say, how do you know you would do that? Way back in the day, 20 years ago, I used to run a guild in WoW, and one day everybody pissed me off after a big raid. I destroyed the whole guild. We had like 80-something, probably 90-something people in there. I just murdered them all. Well, I didn't murder their characters. I just kicked them all out of the guild. There was like 5 of us left. It was me and my brothers. We were the only ones that weren't fucking around. Anyways, all right, we'll stop with that. But I'm just telling you, I know you don't want me running anything. No, seriously, like I've almost closed this whole group's Discord down before. That was years ago, but but the point is, like, you don't want me running stuff. That's not the goal. External, what's outside your control, opportunities, courses you can take, market needs. Like, this is one of the things I remember I learned this in high school. I had a pretty good marketing teacher in high school. It was my best friend Jared's dad. And he told us, he goes, guys, do you know that in like the 90s, so this was in the 90s when we were there, but he's like, do you know that there was like there was like all these college programs for marine biologists, but he said, guys, there's like 10 jobs in the US for being a marine biologist. So he said all these people went and got these degrees in marine biology because all these movies about marine biology stuff, but it was that Ninja's the whole guild bank. Yeah. Hey, Sending, how's it going? I meant to ask you, Sending. I know I asked it up in the Discord. I need to see if anybody's around tomorrow that wants to run some scenarios for me. But if there's nobody around, I'll still run them. I'll just run them in front of everybody. But I was gonna try to get some people to break off, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, threats, market saturation. If you're just, I mean, look, if you just want to be like, everybody wants to be a security person, but most people don't realize, like, even entry level security jobs in tech are not entry level. They are like entry level security people, but like 10 years of tech, because you have to know the basics to be any good about this kind of stuff. Yeah. Sending, if you can, that'd be cool. If not, I mean, I'll see if anybody else wants to do it. I'm gonna make 2 versions of the scenario, so the person will have what they're troubleshooting, and well, they'll have their version, and then they can ask the person that's watching questions, and those people will have like some prompt responses and stuff. So there's that. Anyways, all right. Market saturation. Industry moves quickly. Geopolitical. I mean, we were talking about this the other day, man. If you were doing business with Russia a couple years ago, business was probably good. If you're trying to do business with Russia now, from the U.S. for sure, that's illegal. You can't even send money. I don't know if you guys know this. From America, you can't even send money to somebody you might know in Russia. That's illegal right now. You didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. None of us are part of this. But there's geopolitical forces at work. Yeah, Robodom. Yeah. That's very fucking illegal right now if you're in the U.S. Yeah. Yeah, you can't do any business with somebody from Russia. Yeah. You guys, look, I'm not giving you any advice on that. I'm just going to tell you, you should go look that up before you try doing any business in Russia. But my point with all that is geopolitical. I mean, 20 years ago it was much more tenable in the U.S. to do business with certain different countries in the Middle East. I'm not going to necessarily mention, but I'm going to tell you now you can't really do business with them anymore. And there's a few big ones that I can think of that are all over the news. But the point is, nothing changed on our end. We're just doing business, right? We're doing Linux work for people or whatever, but you can't do it anymore. So my point is, understand what your internal capabilities are and your external capabilities. Businesses do this stuff all the time. SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. One of the most common things that managers will sit around and plan out at like director levels and above, right? Even within, their maneuverings within departments and stuff, there'll be these kind of things. All right. So here's how you do it. You just start to lay stuff out. And then, I had a version of this where I actually wrote some of these out. Threats was always bears. It always says bears on there. I don't know. Anyways, that's up in the Discord if you guys want to play with it. But yeah, I got to write the scenarios out, and we'll probably have something to do with some kind of broken Apache, maybe. We'll figure that out. We'll do some kind of misconfigured disks and or expectations around disks, and then some kind of broken repo for updating services and building stuff. I think that'll be a fun one. Just breaking repos is always fun because it breaks everything. Okay, I think that's good. And then, yeah. What are we at? 2.5 hours? Probably go find somebody to raid here in a little bit. But hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. The goal of a lot of this stuff is to show you guys that you can spend time studying this. You can learn this stuff if you want to. You just gotta spend time with it. Spend time with other engineers that are interested in doing this stuff too. Yeah, Ekshunya, I missed your message until right now, but yeah, the Ansible for deploying all that could easily be rolled into any new version. And if you get stuck on anything and you're working on it, just ask me up in the Ansible channel and I'll work with you on it. If you try to roll any deployments and that kind of stuff. We need to actually, one of the things I need to put on my to-do list. It might even be in my to-do list. Let's go look. Let's go see, because a lot of times, where's this thing at? Hold on. Sometimes I have it up here. Oh, here's my to-do list. I need to build out the new lab P01 Jumpo 1 box. We did build out Kafka and Werewolf. Did a bunch of dissertation stuff. Fixed the image for the logo. We did harden Kubernetes. I did that. I do need to put Overleaf on there. Overleaf's over here. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played with Overleaf, but it's a really cool little system for generating from Markdown. You can generate like PDFs of your work, and it'll just be finished work. And I've been meaning to put an API internal so that if you're on our systems and you send up your Markdown of whatever, it'll send you back a PDF. And I've been meaning to put that together. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So, oh, and then there's Small Step. I need to get back into that too, because one of the guys was telling us about that the other day. Too many things to do, guys. Too many things to do. What is this? Oh, yeah. All right. So, Glausen, I didn't. No, I know somebody had mentioned it. It might have even been you. Somebody mentioned it the other day, so I still just have it up. I have not gone over Small Step. No. I know that it's got some cool stuff. I know it's here somewhere. It's somewhere in here. Huh. I think it's right here. I haven't gone over it yet, no. But I heard some people talking about it, and I think maybe one of you had mentioned it. No, Quartz, I closed down the Progress Quest. I haven't had that open for like a month. I was working so hard on the dissertation, and then there's a little bit of setback on the doctorate, but it's not too bad. It's just I mean, don't get me wrong, it's bad. It's just not too bad, like, to me. It's just gonna slow me down by a few months probably. So, which isn't that big of a deal, because some people take between like 3 and 7 years to finish their doctorate. I still plan on finishing mine in about 3.5 total. So I still probably got about 2.5 left. I was hoping to finish it by the end of 2026, but I'll probably be finishing it in 2027 now because of this little setback that I've had. Make myself mad thinking about it. Yeah, no, Glausen. I hear that it's good. You can do. There's some certain certificate stuff you can get done with Vault as well. So I don't do much with it, but you might find some interesting Vault stuff that might work as well. Although I don't know that Vault function. It won't work as a CA though. So if you're doing a certificate authority and then other people need to come into it, I don't think Vault will fit that use case. But if it was something internal, like internal CA stuff, I'm pretty sure Vault can handle all that stuff. So, yeah, Eurofom, yeah, I've been working on my PhD for the last year, but now I'm probably going to be looking to. I'm going to switch gears on it, and I might go full. I wasn't gonna focus on cyber. Like I purposely tried to keep it quantitative analytics and business stuff, but as I got like really deep in the weeds on some of the research, I started really finding some interesting stuff in cybersecurity that's like a big gap in the literature, and that's what you do in your dissertation. You don't get to do, for you guys that don't know, you don't get to do anything fun in your dissertation. You don't get to do anything new. You don't get to work with any new instrumentation. You don't get to write your own theories or model, none of that stuff. You have to copy somebody else. You have to fit your puzzle piece into another piece. This is true of all colleges. There's no college where this is any real different. But you're pushing literature along and you're pushing the research along, but you're using somebody else's like sled design, and you're using somebody else's, pack of dogs formation. You're not doing any of that stuff your own, right? Like what's that one that they run the Adder? What's that race that everybody does? Yeah, anyways, but the point is, so I found some really interesting stuff, and I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in it, but it's heavily in cybersecurity awareness and people's behaviors. So it's almost borderline psychology, but I wouldn't do psychology stuff. It's not what my PhD is going to be in. So anyways, my PhD may focus on, it may be a PhD now, and because earlier it was a DBA, but it may be focused on cybersecurity. So yeah. So Eurofom, yeah, I've been working on that. By the way, best thing I've found in all of my studying for and working on that is this tool. I don't know if you guys have used Zotero. If any of you have done any research or are doing that, man, Zotero is just the tool. They have so many things in here that as you go look at them, you can just generate your bibliographies. You can go and relook at any of the pieces of the research and any of the things that you've downloaded. You can get a hold of. It's really, It's really great, and it works right out of, like, if I were to take this Lustre Scalable Storage PDF here, and I just wanted to go connect it right into Zotero right now, I can just do it, and I say, okay, let's go ahead and send that into my, like, Redline work with my company, right? Boom. And then I would have right here, under Redline, here's my architecture. One, I can just look at the PDF whenever I want. And two, if I want to go generate my, well, I can generate reports. I could do, there's all kinds of things you could do. Maybe because this isn't, oh, it's because it's already the PDF, but if I had it on the web page that it had come from and grabbed it, I could cite the web page and when I retrieved it and all that stuff, which is kind of useful if you use APA type formatting. Yeah, this was KAB stuff here. So this is actually one of the ones that I would be upgrading and going into future work on. So it's all interesting stuff, right? Yeah. But I wasn't talking like too much about the PhD, but that is something that's going to get worked on. Shaft said, how long do I think it would take to get familiar with Kubernetes at a beginner level? I would tell you, if you were just cold starting it today, I'd say probably like 3 months if you were spending, you know, a good amount of time studying each day. The places that I would go to study would be, there'd be a couple of them. One, I would go to, where do I have this? Hold on. I have, I definitely have one of these. Was it here? I would go to Code Cloud for sure and Mumshad's courses, but if you didn't want to spend any money, hold on. Let's go with pods. Find in all documents. So this right here is their page. This is basically my distilled down version of 10% of their stuff comes from the storage, 30% comes from troubleshooting. If you're talking about getting familiar with Kubernetes, and I'm talking like CKA, which is kind of their basic thing. Let's say you weren't going to take the CKA because that costs $400, and then maybe if you can get it on sale, it's like $250. But let's just say you were like, well, I just want to study the body of knowledge. Well, you would go here, and you would say, do I understand storage classes and persistent volumes? And if the answer to that is no, then you would maybe come over here and say storage classes and persistent volumes, right? And you would maybe go read about them here, right? So these would be your two things you would want to do. You would want to learn about them, read, and you would want to get hands-on. So then you would go to like Killer Coda, which I think is like maybe the best thing on the web you can do. Killer Coda is free. And you would go to maybe like CKA. Again, CKA is the stuff. And you would come in here, and then you would go look for storage classes. So he's got some questions on storage class. All right, he's going to teach me a little bit about storage classes, but now this is hands-on. Like, I know most of you probably understand this, but I still have to say it because I don't know that everybody understands it. But there's book learning and there's getting to doing it learning, right? There's like the book learning, like reading about fishing for 60 years versus just going out and fishing. It's the same idea here, right? There's the book learning of like what storage classes are, and you'll find out the problems and maybe some integrations of how they work. But then there's also the rubber meets the road, go do some storage stuff, right? And that's here. So for this question, please set this context. So you set a context, and it said, create a storage class called green STC as per the properties given below. The provisioner should be Kubernetes IO, no provisioner, and the volume bind mode should be wait for first customer. Volume expansion should be enabled. Okay. I don't know how to do any of that. So I come back over here, and I see that I can set a storage class. Now it says right here, create a storage class called green STC. Okay, could I grab this? Right, this is some storage class. Could I just copy this and come over here and say vi some file.yaml, right? And then just copy this in. Could I just copy that in? And then come up here and could I go, okay, the kind of storage class, the name, I got to use that name. So go right here, copy this name, Control Shift V, green STC, annotation. So the provisioner should be, here's the provisioner. And guys, literally all I'm doing is copying and pasting stuff. So, Shaf, you were asking about how long it would take reasonably. I would say go. Learning Kubernetes is a big thing, right? It's a big elephant. And if you were to try to unhinge your jaw like a python and stuff an elephant in there, it's not going to work. So you're going to instead cut it up into these individual pieces, and you're going to do it. Now, there's another way to learn than what I just showed you, right? This is the, go read. Reading's hard for people. Reading's slow. It's boring. I wouldn't remember most of this if I read it. So let's toss that out. But I can still look at this and then come over here and do the hands-on. But there's another way to learn this too, which is what people call like, I don't want to say problem, but a lot of people, you can almost make it like gamifying it, where you go and you solve problems around this, right? So let's see, I go here, provisioner should be this, Control Shift V, right? And then reclaim policy, volume binding. What's our volume binding right here? Wait for first customer, got it. And then volume expansion if there's a true. Should be enabled or true in this case. Okay. Now, I should be able to check, and that's going to fail. But then I'm going to say escape, WQ, kubectl create -f sumefile.yaml. And if that created the storage class, kubectl list sc storage class of green. Actually, if you don't give one, it'll just give you all of them. Oh, it's get, sorry. Get storage class. And it should show me that that one is trying to come up, and it's reclaim policy, and it's whatever, boom. And if I do that, boom, look. Guys, I haven't done this one before, and I didn't know that was going to work. But what I did was go and look at the stuff and just copy. You guys literally saw me copy. I wasn't making that up. And paste, and then change to what they asked me to do. The other way to kind of get good at this stuff is to go find some of those scenario. Yeah, as long as the Kubernetes is Kuberneteing. Yeah, that's funny. Once you do this a little bit, then there's other things. There's other things that can kind of drag you in and get you better at this stuff too. There are scenarios that you can find. I have a fair amount of scenarios up in our Discord that'll walk you through that stuff. Killer Coda has so many good, excellent sites. By the way, you could go work on this stuff for like the next 6 hours. Let's say I said right now, come back to me in 6 hours, Shaf, and tell me how good your Kubernetes is. Go work on it for 6 hours in Killer Coda. And it would cost you $0. It would cost you literally just the 6 hours of time that you spent. And to most of us, especially let's say you're early on in your career, you probably have a lot of time because you go and do work, but you don't have a lot of money, right? Like money's down here, hopefully going up in your future, and time is up here. You have a lot of time, but hopefully going down in the future as you're doing more work, right? I don't know, somewhere those paths diverge. My point is, you probably have a lot of time earlier on in your career to study this stuff and learn it. And I would say, the average person doesn't take as much advantage of that as they could. So, where's Ranger? That dog. And it looks like his penguin is on over here. Penguin's on, so. Alright. We're looking at these little Jets and Nanos. Any of you guys played with those yet? Some of us were thinking about using them for some workloads, but they're not super, some of them got 64 gigs, which can run some of the bigger models. Anyways, we were looking at those. I'll leave that spinning over there. Yeah, hopefully that works for you, Shaft, though, or hopefully that makes sense to you, what I'm talking about there. Just saying, get this. By the way, I found this on the site, right? This is just a distilled down version of like what they're asking for on the cert. And then those are the things that I would know, even if I wasn't going to take the cert, even if I didn't have it. for the CKA, these are the things that they think are important to know. So that's what a vendor, that's what some person you're going to maybe work for wants to know right here, that you know how to do these things. So, all right, I gotta write my scenarios and then do that and get some people ready to work on that stuff tomorrow. We'll have new users, so you'll have different users to log in. I gotta set up those, prep the environments for us to monitor. So get users monitored in Rocky 11 through 16. Make sure logging dashboards are set up. Okay. So then people can work down there and we can still watch what they're working on and what they're doing, even though we won't hear the conversations between them and the people that are working on it. I think that's going to be fun. I've often thought that would be a fun thing to show, like as people log into servers and you just kind of see them noodling around and what the system's showing, and then we could just kind of keep an eye on all the different labs that are going. I've often thought that would be a fun little exercise, because then other people will see just the troubleshooting as it's happening, even though they're not the ones doing it at the time. I think that'll be valuable maybe for some people. What else do we have? Do we hit 3 hours? We're not at 3 hours yet. We're just hanging out, not working too hard on a Friday. Prepping up for the weekend. This is those, we joke around about, these are those days between Christmas and New Year's where nobody knows what day it is anymore. I think it's Friday. Yeah, I think it's Friday, and then I got 2 days off. Then I'm back to work, but, not as much gets done during this time as others. So, do got to go check on the wife, though, because she had a little bit of a headache, so I want to go make sure she's not feeling too bad. So here's what we'll do. We'll find somebody to raid. Anybody that's hanging out, you're welcome to hang out down in the Discord. People tend to be down there doing Linuxy stuff. Oh, and they're starting, there's going to be a talk down there. Well, talk there. If you guys are interested in doing stuff with the Discord and you want to go hear some fun stuff, they are talking in 23 minutes. They're going to be working on the project. So there's this final project. If you're doing our stuff, if you're doing our professional Linux users group, Linux Systems Administration course, if you're down here and you've been doing this, there's a project. Do I have the project? So here's the project. Here's what you're doing if you're doing the project. You're picking a topic, something in Linux, right? Something interesting to you. I didn't want to lock in the project to be just any one thing. I wanted it to be something that people were interested in, like if stability is your thing, or performance, or security, or maybe you really like monitoring and you want to go that route, or maybe screw all that Linux stuff. We'll just do straight Kubernetes. Like I wanted to do that. Yeah, thanks, Wadi Asaf. I appreciate you guys coming by anyways. So, anytime people hang out with me, it keeps me motivated too. So that's always good. Programming automation, right? Maybe that's what tickles your fancy, And then I want you to plan a project, find somebody that's done it, or build a new one. Document it, make a first pass as you build it, and figure out how to build it. This is like you tinkering in a little workshop. Then as you get it working, start to diagram it, build it out for real, make sure it all works, finalize your documentation. What finalizing a document is to redline the documentation, to go back through it and make sure that everything works. Make sure that any assumption that you had in your notes and all these other kind of things are basically hammered out to a level where anybody should be able to do it, provided they have the same, environment as you do. So finalize documentation, redline it, and then I say prepare to present with Overleaf. Overleaf is a great tool if you don't want to use PowerPoint. Set up a 15 to 20 slide deck on what you did, project purpose, diagram, build process, what did you learn? Those are all the things up here, right? Make you tell us what you did, basically. And then down here, if you want to present it, you can. I'll get you a slot in the last few weeks, which we're on the last week, but we have a few more weeks where we could just meet and people can show their projects if they want. So here's the deliverables. build a document for your project that works in either our Prolog labs or in Killer Coda. So I should be able to take your document and go build whatever it is, either in our Prolog labs or out in the Killer Coda environment. Give us a diagram, right? Give us examples of the running system, screenshots, what you saw, other proof that you built it and show it in a running state, and then just give us a presentation of what you would want to present to the group. Now, here's the thing. I tell you guys, presenting to the group is like, okay, cool. I mean, if you want to do that, but the real value of this is having something you could show to a possible employer. Or maybe you don't want to work with anybody. Maybe you just want to work as a contractor or consultant. You could have examples of work that you've done in the past that could then inform people of whether or not you're ready to do work for them or whatever. So, all right. Well, anyways, there's that. That was we were doing resume reviews the other day. So, resumes, and yeah, I think that's good. You guys can do whatever you want down in the Discord as long as it's not illegal. I always have to say that. But I don't really care what you do down there as long as you don't get the Discord closed down. Other than that, what else? That's probably good. All right. We'll go find somebody to raid out to. I'm sure somebody's doing something fun out there in the world. Let's go to our little end of stream. People on YouTube, I got nothing for you, but you're welcome to always hang out down the Discord. I got no raids for you guys over on the YouTube side, unfortunately. But let's see if anybody on the Twitch side wants to get raided too. Who are we following? Who are we following that we could raid over to? Let's see. Go ahead. What's Clonk doing? We'll go over to Clonk. All right. We'll raid over there. The raid message is do all the Linux. Right? You just do that one if you want. Do all the Linux. I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I will talk to some of you tomorrow.